What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Lynette's Perspective. Thank you so much for joining me, and I appreciate you clicking on the video. Let's get right into last night's episode of Married at First Sight because it was a doozy. There was so much going on. I felt like I needed a drink afterwards. Yeah, we're going to talk about that little joke that David played on Michelle, having them right on top of that espresso martini, the little text message that he sent Madison, how they were celebrating Madison's 30th birthday, but they were laughing about that text message. Wow. Okay, that's what we're doing? Whew. And we're also going to talk about Eminem and Brandon and how, I'm sorry, I just think that they were moving way too fast. But let's get back into this episode. So we start off with Juan and Carla moving out of the apartment. They're now divorced and have to return to their previously single lives. And it feels kind of awkward, like they're still not on the same page. Juan comes across as more emotionally attached, like, are we still going to be friends? Like, maybe we can hang out, go grab a coffee or something? And Carla is like, I didn't come into this for friendship. I came into this for marriage. And my personal interpretation of Juan and Carla probably feels like she needs to sever ties and separate in order to move on and to heal. And Juan doesn't seem as though he's really ready to detach, because it has to be difficult to be living with someone, to be married to someone. And then it's like, okay, so that was a fun 8 weeks. So bye. Have a nice life. Because you all did uproot your entire life and start building something together. And the way Juan was looking was pulling at my heartstrings, guys, for just a bit. I mean, how do you say goodbye? Because they didn't have a contentious relationship. They weren't angry and upset and bitter. But I think Juan still wanted to slowly fade things out over time, maybe. And Carla just wasn't having that. So on a bit of a happier note, we move on to Thomas and Camille, where they decided to stay together and stay married, and they made the decision to move into Thomas's place. And I don't really know why I thought it would be super nice, like Emim's condo or Emim's apartment, but it was just more of like a standard one-bedroom apartment, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But seeing Camille move into his space brought back a lot of memories for me. So yes, I once was engaged and I moved into my fiance's apartment just like Camille. And I remember how quickly things devolved and moved downhill after that. I mean, it was not good. Moving into someone's place for me, I was never able to be totally comfortable, and it never really felt like home. I always felt like I was overstaying my welcome, like I was the overnight guest that just stayed too long. I don't know. But I really hope that they quickly move from living together in his place to finding their own place, because that's so much better. It's such a better feeling when you're both inhabiting a space for the first time as a couple, making it your own. But I do wish them all the best. Moving on to the two divorcees, Michelle and Carla. I really like seeing them out having a girls' night, enjoying each other's company and supporting each other. I think that's fantastic. I think Michelle especially needs the support, and Carla is the perfect person to provide that. I just love Carla to death because Carla always stood up for what's right. And she's not going to pretend like she's okay with what Madison and David did to Michelle and Alan. I really wish that more people in the group took her stance and didn't allow Madison and David to just come around all geeked up and act like everything was all right. Because it's definitely not. But I did love how Michelle and Carla were talking about how neither of them consummated their marriages, so therefore the marriages didn't count. I thought that was hilarious. I only wish that were true, but reality is they've got to go back into the real world and explain this whole mess to anyone else who wants to date them. Like, yeah, so I was married for about 8 weeks. Do you happen to watch Lifetime? So then we have Madison sitting at the bar with her father, and Madison tells her dad her own version of how she married Alan but wound up with David. Of course, leaving out the parts where she was sneaking back into the house at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and leaving out the parts where David was sending her dirty text messages and lying to his wife about it, and leaving out the part where she disappeared with David at that club for about 25 minutes and Carla didn't know where they were or what they were doing. I mean, that stupid lie about someone stole my phone, that we were looking for my phone or something, some stupid lie that they told. Yeah, Madison just conveniently happened to just leave all of that out. So that this is a version of ourselves that we're going to give our father, right? Right, Madison. And I get that you want to sugarcoat things for your parents sometimes because you want them to be more sympathetic towards you. You want to see yourself as a victim. You don't want to feel shame or embarrassment, blah, blah, blah. I get when we tell our parents things, we kind of like craft the story a certain way to make ourselves look a certain way. But Madison, you were dead ass wrong for looking your daddy in the eye like that and telling him that little made up story and leaving out all of that other stuff about being married and cheating on your husband and David cheating on Michelle. Like, lying to your daddy's face, I can't. After the bar with Madison and her dad, we moved to going on this date. So let's really get into this. Meets with an old childhood friend. I think they knew each other from like middle school. Only to find out that he, and his name is Brandon, is sleeping on his sister's couch because he just got divorced. And he was married for like 10 years and has 2 kids. So she's like, oh, I'm getting divorced as well. And they kind of high five, like, oh, look at that. Look where we landed. So I felt like their little first meeting or little first date actually went pretty well. It felt like we haven't seen each other in forever. We're just kind of getting reacquainted. This is where I'm at. This is where you at. Oh, we're in similar places. Maybe this can develop into something, maybe not. I don't know. But let's take it slow and kind of see where things go. And I felt like that was the right decision. Anybody getting divorced or coming out of divorce, it's like, yeah, the expectation is you're not going to jump into anything anytime soon. But it's like, we can still kind of like maybe hang out, get to know each other, whatever. So I was like, yeah, sounds good. Take it slow. No problems with that. Or at least that's how I interpreted their first date. Then after those good vibes and those good feels between Emma and Brandon, we move over to David and Michelle at this ice cream shop. And they're talking about having dessert first thing in the morning and how much they like having dessert in the morning, being all kinds of nasty, with David being like, yeah, you fit like a glove. Oh, hell no. Married at first sight. Why are we here? Why are we here? Now having to sit through Madison and David talk about being nasty while they're eating ice cream. I mean, I guess they're just happy now that they can just put it all out there in the open, huh? Without having to sneak around. Is that what we are to deduce? Because this is just sick. This is sickening. So here's the kicker, y'all. So Madison and David are talking about moving forward and having boundaries. I was like, hilarious, right? Madison is like, in our relationship, if anything changes, I just need you to come to me and say something to me instead of going behind my back. It's better to just come to me and tell me. Oh, really, Madison? Really? Is that how you communicated in your marriage with Alan? Is that what happened? Because you sound like a complete hypocrite. Anyway, now let's get back to who meets with her cousin because she's so in love and has fallen in love overnight. And I was like, wait a minute, maybe I totally misread that previous scene. I thought they were going to take things slow. I was hopeful they would just get to know each other better, but we've somehow just moved right into, oh, we're in love and want to spend the rest of our lives together. It was almost like on Monday they met up for a first date and by Saturday night he was proposing. I was so confused. And M's cousin had walked out and left before Brandon got down on one knee. So I wanted to know, wait a minute, what does a cousin think about this engagement? What is going on, I was just totally confused. Then they wind up at that jewelry store later where picks out a ring and Brandon gets down on one knee again. Since she now has this ring on her finger and he proposes again. And Honestly, I was just kind of embarrassed for them at this point. Like, y'all, this looks so bad. And you two are clearly spiraling and have not taken the time to heal from your previous marriages. Please slow down. In fact, I was like, where's her cousin? Please come back, sir. We need you for another scene. Remember, Brandon have completely gone off the rails. Bring the cousin back so he can just reel them in. Reel them in, please. So it's the end of the episode and everyone gets together for Thomas' birthday and to celebrate MM's terrible decision to get engaged to Brandon. Oh, but real quick before we get into this birthday celebration scene, David takes Madison to this nice restaurant for her 30th birthday and she orders an espresso martini or whatever. And look at what they wrote on top in the foam. Look at that. It was the text message that David sent to Madison. And the fact that the two of them were just sitting there laughing about it, Kiki, and I was like, wow. Wow. After all that drama with the text message, we're just going to make it into a joke and laugh about it. Okay. Man, when I tell you I can't wait for the reunion, when that little scene comes up and Michelle sees that they were laughing about that text message and making a joke out of it and the rest of the cast sees it, I can't wait to see everybody's reaction. Now, I could make a whole separate video about this birthday celebration scene to end the season, but I don't even have that kind of time, so I'm just going to sum up what I thought about Emim and Ikechi. So Brandon makes a point to introduce himself to Ikechi and to make sure Ikechi knows who he is and that he's with Emim. All right, Brandon, that to me was kind of weird and kind of cringe, especially because Ikechi was paying Emim dust, and she should have done the exact same thing with Ikechi. But why did Emim, after not getting the attention she seemed to so desperately be seeking, make that awful apology to Ikechi in front of everyone, which only served to make her look bad and not him? Why does she keep addressing this man? I feel like we're all telling Emim the same thing at the same time through our television screens. Stop addressing Ikechi. He doesn't care. He's paying you dust. Stop giving him your energy. He doesn't deserve it. But Emim doesn't even care, even if she heard us, and she ain't listening. So after Alan makes his final speech, proving how much of a class act he really, truly is, this man is the epitome of class, in my opinion. Everyone ends on this kind of a kumbaya moment, laughing like, well, everything is going to work out just fine. And I'm like, bull. Let's just get right to this reunion and get to the truth about what really went down. Let's go. Let's go. I wish I could just fast forward to next week. Forget this kumbaya moment. Let's get to the real. But big shout out and thank you all if you've made it all the way to the end of this video. Please drop down in the comments and let me know what you all thought. Is there anyone out there that supports David and Madison? Please let me know. What about Emim and Brandon? Do you all think they're making the right decision to get married? Let me know and I will see you all later this week. I only had time to put out a short about Sahara last weekend for Ready to Love, but hopefully I can get a whole video out this weekend. You guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you all later. Bye.
When they look in my eyes, all they see is pain, but I don't care. Deep in my heart, all the feeling is pain, but I don't care. 'Cause I am a winner. I'm telling myself, I know I can make it. Believe in yourself.